Hey guys, welcome to Funky's World. This is Dark Side of the Ring, Adrian Adonis. It was good. I mean, I felt like you got a feel for him as a person. Evidently, he had a drug issue which he overcame before he died. But it never affected him at home. You know, it was only on the road. Which, sorry guys, I'm trying to pick something up. I'll do it after. Was not uncommon for wrestlers back then. The only thing that really bothered me was they didn't really talk about well, I'm trying to put this. The only mention of Roddy Piper was by Bret Hart, of him going into a room with his partner, Jim Neidhart, with Roddy, Adrian, and some other guys. And Adrian was putting lines of coke out on a mirror, and the guys were doing it, and he did it. But he didn't do it for long because he just didn't. It just wasn't for him, you know. And that was the only mention of Roddy doing lines of coke with Adrian. Okay, well, except that he was one of his best friends. He did the eulogy at his funeral. I failed to understand, you know, so that bothered me. That was the only mention of Roddy, and they would show these actors playing the guys, you know, sitting there doing the coke, and they would show the guy playing Roddy, and it was obvious, you know, because he had the Roddy shirt on with the red trim, you know, who he was supposed to be, and yeah, it just wasn't good, man. And I guess the accident that killed Adrian is an urban legend, which is true because I heard they slid on ice. Well, they didn't slide on ice on the 4th of July. I heard they were trying to avoid a moose. Well, according to the twin brother of the driver, who was also in the car and the only person to survive the accident, they swerved to avoid a bear cub in the road. I also heard that they slipped because it was raining on the road. But they went off a little bridge into a brook, but the way that they are stream, I guess. But it was such a horrific crash. That no one except for the driver's twin brother survived. And in fact, when the ring crew got to the scene, and this is directly from Jim Brunzell and Ricky Johnson, Rocky Johnson's brother, they robbed Adrian. Instead of trying to help the man, they took his watch, they took his wallet. While with his last breath, he's saying, "Help me." That's something that Ricky Johnson remembered vividly. And Jim Brunzell talked about it. Also, they showed newspaper clippings on screen of them being charged with robbing him. What kind of low-down, dirty, disgusting human being and I hesitate to use the terminology human being, as someone lays dying with their skull broken, with their elbow bone sticking out of their body, robs that person. I cannot even begin to comprehend what kind of a person does that. Like I said, I hesitate to even call you a human being. Because clearly, to do that, and I guess they were all robbed by those guys, you have to be a sociopath and have no feelings. No feelings for another human being whatsoever. That's a sociopath. In order to do that to someone. Especially someone that with their very last breath is saying, "Help me." Someone that you know has a wife that is his absolute world, and 2 little girls that he loves more than anything else on this planet, that he's already called twice since he got there, that you know are everything to him. Which they were. He had an incredible marriage, 2 daughters that he adored. His life at home was wonderful. His wife said he was the sweetest, kindest man. She said, I was 19 when I got together with him. He already had started wrestling. She said, I knew what I was getting into, and I was okay with it. We were faithful to each other. He didn't have to worry about me. And from the sounds of things, she didn't have to worry about him. And she said, we had a wonderful life. She said, he brought me flowers. He brought me to the hotel in LA to spend a night with me before he left for the Canada tour, because he had just gotten home from a Japanese tour. And he had gotten clean. He had lost 100 pounds. He was doing great. I mean, the drugs didn't really affect him at home because he didn't use it at home. And a lot of people may be saying, if you're an addict, you would use it at home. Not necessarily, because Roddy Piper said the same thing. I mean, other than drinking, Roddy didn't do any drugs at home. Well, I don't know if he did pot when he was home or not, but he didn't do drugs at home. He drank, which got to be a problem. But he was sober several years when he died, so that's not an issue. And he was clean from all drugs for a couple of decades when he died. And Adrian had gotten clean, lost 100 pounds. He was doing great. Evidently, Adrian was a legitimate tough guy from Buffalo. His best friend couldn't go to his funeral because his best friend was in a federal prison. Because they thought of themselves as a gang. They weren't a legitimate street gang by any means, but they acted like one, a little group of them. And but Adrian wanted better, so he got into wrestling. And Adrian was 6'2", 6'3", 280 pounds. Big boy. Actually, he lost weight. Like I said, he went down 100 pounds before he died, and he was looking a lot better. So, and his wife said, he looked at me one day and he said, "Oh my God, I'm almost 300 pounds." She said, "I just didn't see it because I loved him for who he was. He was my husband, and I didn't care. Now that's true blind love, and I love that. To me, this was a love story with a very tragic ending, but it was a love story. And she talks about coming home after the funeral. They had just gotten into a new house, and there really wasn't anything put together yet. And she opens the closet in the master bedroom, and the only thing hanging in there was Adrian's jacket with the New York emblem on the back of it, Yankees or Mets. I think it was a Mets. Maybe Yankees. Just an NY in the circle. Was hanging in that closet. What is this doing here? And it still smelled like him. So she took it off the hanger and she took it over to the bed. She went to bed holding it. And that's when it hit her. She would never hold him again. And he would never hold her again. So it was probably one of the more emotional, one of the more sad ones, for sure. Like I said, I wish that Roddy had been included a little more, but I understand it's not Roddy's story. But if Roddy were alive, he would have been a part of it, for sure. Because he loved Adrian. So, but they're together now, and I kind of wish they would have talked about WrestleMania 3. About the selfless act of doing the job for Roddy, making Roddy look as good as he could before he left, and all of that Adrian did willingly, But they really kind of glossed over it. All of a sudden, you see Adrian getting shaved, but you don't know what the heck is going on. Then you see Adrian with basically a buzz cut. Then they say he left in May of that year, and it was like, wait, what? So there needed to be just a little bit more in that space, in my opinion. Overall, I think I would give it a B plus. An A minus. It was really good. Now to preview next week. Next week is Abdullah the Butcher. I've been waiting for this one. I used to be so terrified of him. I thought he was going to come to my house and get me when I was a little kid. Oh my gosh. I've seen interviews with him now, and he's a person, So it's not as scary to me. But it's going to be interesting because they are going to talk about the hepatitis and stuff. I don't know how much he'll talk about it. Because they are going to interview that guy. That guy ended up actually doing very well for himself. He has what's called Hannibal TV on YouTube. His promotion in Canada does amazing. So he ended up, even though he didn't get into the World Wrestling Federation, ended up doing amazing for himself. So after that whole thing. So that will be interesting to see. Abdullah has been a part of the wrestling business for over 50 years. His name is, his last name is Shreve. I can't remember his first name. But anyway, he's Canadian. He and his now ex-wife owned a chicken restaurant at one time. And people said, oh, he was nice as can be when you went in there. If he was there, he was nice as could be. There is a woman that lives with him now. They call her his caregiver. A lot of people say, no, she's actually his girlfriend that he left his wife for. and his wife finally divorced him. Well, that he was cheating on her with it, his wife finally divorced him. So I don't know how much of that they'll get into. That's just the things that I've heard in other interviews and stuff. So we'll see. Larry Shreve, I think was his name. Anyway. So look forward to that video next Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and make the Kid Missing video announcement. Stay safe. It's 90 degrees out there. Actually, it's more like 96. It was going to be absolutely ridiculous today, which is why I chose to use my crock pot. Good timing. I was just looking at my watch. I'm actually going to get these up before 8 o'clock tonight, which is amazing. Announcing my show and talking more about it. My presentation and talking more about it. So I hope that you'll check that out. And I have to go put up Carlene Tinkleson on Kid Missing for today's video. Thank you so much, guys. Please subscribe to both. We're trying to get up to 500 over there, and we're trying to get up to 100 over here. God bless you, and I will see you next time. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye-bye.